Chapter 8. Does fasting cure? If fasting in general does not weaken the faster in weight reduction and even tends to increase strength, does it benefit in disease? One of the leading practitioners in the field of fasting, George S. Weger, MD, who headed the Weger Health School, Redlands, California, and wrote The Genesis and Control of Disease, says, quote, "The writer is willing to side with the enlarging minority and believe in the efficacy of the fast. Facts will not down. Nothing is more gratifying, no work more inspiring than actually to witness complete recovery during comparatively short periods of fasting in diseases such as chronic eczema, urticaria of years standing, varicose ulcers, gastric and duodenal ulcers, asthma, arthritis, colitis, amoebic dysentery, endocarditis, sinusitis, bronchitis, neuritis, Bright's disease, acute and chronic appendicitis, tic douloureux, fistula, psoriasis, all kinds of digestive disorders, urinary and biliary calculi, pellagra, glaucoma, lump of the breast, epithelioma, migraine, acidosis, purpura, hemorrhagica, epilepsy, paralysis agitans, Raynaud's disease, and even locomotor ataxia. Many other derangements could be added to the list, which is not by any means exhaustive, neither does it represent single experiences. Conclusions are based upon actual group results. Many will say, preposterous. Many will say that there is no such thing as a cure-all. Others may damn with faint praise. To all doubters, we must say in all seriousness that fasting and a diet properly selected and combined are the nearest approach to a cure-all that is possible to conceive, profoundly simple and simply profound, unquote. Dr. Weger did not believe that fasting is a cure for disease. Indeed, along with Dr. Tilden, he did not believe in cures. I account for his use of the term in this instance only by assuming that a man brought up in the belief in cures, having it instilled into his mentality throughout his term in medical college and through years of medical practice, here falls into the habit of using the term in a general sense rather than in the precise meaning it has taken on in modern thinking. The view of hygienists, and both Dr. Tilden and Dr. Weger had abandoned the practice of regular medicine for hygienic practice, is that fasting is not a cure in the modern meaning of this much abused term. Fasting does not cure anything. A fast is a period of physiological rest. It does not do anything at all. It is rather a cessation of doing. The rest provides an opportunity for the body to do for itself what it cannot do under the conditions of surfeit and full activity. The term cure comes from the Latin cura, which was the equivalent of our word care. But the meaning of words is constantly changing. The biologist A.D. Derbyshire, formerly with the University of Edinburgh, in analyzing the changing meaning of words in his Introduction to Biology, says, quote, "When the adjective curious detached itself from its parent substantive, cure meant care. Thus, cure first meant the care of the healthy, then the successful treatment of the sick, and lastly the drug supposed to drive away the malady. We speak of and even believe in a cough cure," unquote. Today the word cure is variously defined as a medicine effective in treating disease, as a successful treatment of a disease or wound, or again, as a system of treating disease. When we say that there are no cures, we simply mean that there are no methods or systems of treatment that in themselves restore health, whether the treatment is directed to a wound or a so-called disease. This is to say that there is and can be no such thing as a successful method of treating disease. There is no course of treatment that will restore health. We go further and assert that disease should not be treated, that it should not be cured, that there is no need for a cure. The attempt to restore the sick to good health without correcting or removing the cause of disease is often what is understood by cure. To cure, in this modern usage, is to give a drug or to perform a rite, mechanical, surgical, or psychological that will, it is hoped, restore health in spite of the continued operation of the cause of sickness. The search for cures, which is continuous, is a search for means of restoring the sick to health by the application or administration of a treatment without the necessity of removing the cause or causes that are maintaining the impairment of health. As a recent example, cortisone was employed to cure arthritis, the cause of which is admittedly unknown. The cortisone was not supposed to remove the unknown cause. Cause was ignored, and cortisone was administered. The first clearing up of symptoms was heralded with enthusiasm as a successful cure. But a short time elapsed before it was realized that this cure was illusory as other cures. The production of effects can be ended permanently only by removing the causes responsible for them. We behave as though we believe that effects can be erased and their production ended without the necessity of removing the causes producing them. That we can sober up a drunk man while he continues to drink. That we can prevent the evolution of cancer of the lungs while the man continues to smoke. It is necessary that we learn the simple but fundamental lesson that when cause is removed, the body can begin to heal itself. Removing cause does not do the healing. It only makes it possible for the restorative processes of the organism to perfect their work. Healing, as distinct from curing, is a biological process. It is not an art. A surgeon may bring the severed edges of a wound together and suture them. He cannot heal the wound. He may bring the ends of broken bones together and fix them so that they do not again become separated, but he cannot unite the two sections of the bone. The actual knitting of the bone is a process of life that only the living organism knows how to carry out. Man can neither duplicate nor imitate the process. Briefly describing the process by which the body repairs its injuries, Dr. Robert R. Gross of Hyde Park, New York says, quote, "We know precisely how a callus is formed to knit broken ends of a bone and the parts played by bone cells, osteocytes, the bone-forming membrane, periosteum, the fibroblasts, cell-producing fibrous tissues, and capillary blood vessels. We know a severed continuity of the skin heals by various so-called intentions, first and second by the appearance of fibroblasts and endothelial buds, embryological blood vessels, to form granulation tissues connecting the split skin layers and placing them in apposition to one another." Unquote. This somewhat technical description of some of the processes of healing a wound or broken bone actually bears out the truth that the remarkable process of healing as carried on by the living organism employs the same processes in the production of new tissues, whether soft or bone tissues, that are employed in the production of skin, muscles, blood vessels, nerves, bones, the total organism from conception. Healing is accomplished by the same processes by which the tissues were first produced. I repeat, the production of new tissues, histogenesis, and healing a wound or knitting a broken bone is the same process of producing new tissue, in the original evolution of the organism from fertilized ovum to fully formed organism. These processes can neither be duplicated nor imitated by any disease treater, whatever his medical bag of tricks may hold. The secrets of healing are locked up in the living organism, and there is nothing outside the organism that can usurp its prerogative of self-healing. We may study the process by which healing is accomplished, but we cannot reproduce them. There may be a science of healing, but no art of healing, because art as such is distinctive from the life processes. We are dealing not with the art of the physicians, but with the work of living tissues. Admitting that there are many circumstances, chiefly wounds and traumatic conditions, in which a skilled surgeon can be of inestimable service, it remains tragically true that too often the, quote, healing art, unquote, consists of throwing monkey wrenches into the vital machinery. Once we have fully grasped the significance of the fact that healing is a process of life, that processes by which healing is accomplished are as much a function of the living organism as the processes of digestion, respiration, circulation, elimination, reproduction, we can understand that so-called cures may come and go, but healing goes on endlessly. We will understand why almost anything may appear to cure, although there are no cures. This brief description of the healing processes should underscore the fact that all healing is self-healing, and that fasting is therefore not a cure in the sense that this word is now defined. When we say that fasting does not cure disease, we mean that it heals no wounds, knits no broken bones, it repairs no tissues, eliminates no poisons. It does none of these things that are parts of the processes of healing. It does not initiate these healing processes, nor does it keep them in operation. The healing processes are spontaneous and ever imminent, springing into activity the instant there is need for them. There is a very radical sense, however, in which it may be said that fasting is an integral and essential part of the overall process of healing. It is a part of the remedial processes that is called disease, at least in many circumstances, the conditions of life. When the body cuts off all desire for food and rejects it if eaten, it should be understood that the abstinence thus enforced is part of the overall process by which health is restored. As a physiological rest, fasting is merely one of the normal conditions for the efficient operation of the healing processes that are intrinsic to life. It provides an opportunity for the body to do its own healing work in its own inimitable way and with less hindrance. When we place a sick person upon a fast, we do not do so with any idea that we are administering a cure, but with the idea that we are providing the organism with a much-needed rest. Writers and lecturers who speak of the fasting cure or hunger cure or of therapeutic fasting are simply victims of popular fallacies. They do not accurately describe the fast and its role in caring for the body. Nor should fasting be called a rest cure, as it has been. Rest does not cure. The sick are no more cured by the rest than are the well. Rest is one of the normal needs of life, as essential to continued existence as are food, air, warmth, sunshine, exercise, and cleanliness. But it no more cures disease than does any of the other elements of nature's plan of hygiene. Does fasting cure? Obviously, from the foregoing, the answer is no. But it is also clear that fasting, used properly, under correct supervision and guidance, can be a powerful, silent ally in the body's healing process.